Thank you, Julian. Well, a dispute between the National Football League and former players is now settled. A federal judge approved a $1 billion settlement in a class action suit over concussions. The agreement provides up to $5 million per players for serious medical conditions associated with repeated head trauma. Joining us from Reno, Nevada to talk about this settlement is former NFL player and founder of Dignity After Football, Brent Boyd. Brent, welcome to Arise America. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let me just get your assessment and reaction to this announcement of the judge's approval of this settlement.
I'm very disappointed. I can't say I'm surprised the way the NFL succeeds in court, but the word that keeps rattling around my head today is sinister. This whole thing just has a sinister thing about it.
And it's sinister in what way?
We're calling it a concussion settlement, right? But all the most common symptoms that players are suffering from their concussions have been carved out of this. It's a misnomer to call it a concussion settlement at this time. It's a Lou Gehrig settlement. The $5 million number you just gave was for Lou Gehrig. It's not for CTE. What's sinister about it? CTE magically ceased to exist about noon today when this settlement was announced.
Yeah, you're actually quite right. It awards, I believe, more typically a little more than $100,000 to most players and then goes up to that $5 million mark. Now, let me ask you this. Back in February, Judge Brody refused to accept the proposed settlement between the league and the retired players, saying that changes needed to be made. Apparently, those changes were made. What is the difference between that one and this one?
The issues in February were very minor. It was included guys who played in Europe, that kind of thing. It really didn't address any of the core issues.
I know that part of your issue with this, or maybe one of your questions with this settlement, is how this settlement will be administered. What are the problems that you see?
All right, so I was one of the guys who helped bring this issue to concussion awareness to life, maybe 10 years ago. And it was brought about because we were fighting a corrupt NFL disability system, where they were refusing to approve any disability claims involving head injury. It involved me going to one and two of their own NFL doctors who both approved my claim, but the NFL denied my disability claim, even though their own two doctors approved it. So how it looks to me, and again, we go back to sinister, the NFL has their PR problem removed, the attorneys get paid, but us players, are we going back right where we were at stage one, where we're going to have to fight through this traumatic process of proving our claim? Or are they going to take our treating physician's diagnosis and rush us through and get us the payment that we need desperately right away?
You know, Brent, there are quite a number of players that opted out of this class action. Are they the better for not being a part of it now?
Well, that remains to be seen. I didn't have the courage to do that. The NFL is making it sound like because only a few, 200 guys opted out, that most of us approved the claim. By not opting out doesn't mean that we approved. It meant it was too perilous for us to opt out. All the attorneys and experts that I speak to say that it's pretty futile to think that we would win a case after the settlement on our own. And secondly, it would take a lot of time and a lot of treasure, and most of us haven't even.
You know, the NFL has suffered a lot of hits to its image in the last year or two, not the least of which is this whole issue of dealing with players who have suffered repeated concussions. Is this the salve that the NFL needs to improve its image, if you will, heal its wounds?
It's a tremendous win for the NFL, for Roger Goodell and the owners. The common fan really doesn't want to hear about these problems too much. They're being told that the situation has been handled and that we're taken care of. And as far as I can see, that's not the case.
Brent Boyd, we thank you so much for your perspective. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.